Dorje Chang Tene ta Thrangu kapso jirdo kalwa zangpo pusam sopa tene jawa kama pake chungkar tushin la tene pe ngaranso chudingi jio pomo tene te yendo jawa kama pake xalo tumo ma inpa tamchi nzom ne densan tene la tene chungkar tushin nyamdo tangchu chungwa te pe mesi pe kalwa zangpo jipo tene jipo zang ma inpa sila chebara chen tendel pusam sopa ta tende chungwa re la te la ngaraya jarju ko kap chungwa la pe gabo chungwa che namba la yung tuji che hyoge yen.
Today we were very fortunate to have the wonderful opportunity to celebrate the Karmapa's birthday. And so for all of us us men and women who have faith in the Dharma, in particular all of us who are students of the Gyoan Karmapa, to be able to gather here at this, the Karmapa's seat, was really wonderful and lovely and very enjoyable. And I feel for myself a wonderful thing to, especially wonderful to do. I especially feel like it is a good connection for all of us. And so I'm very delighted to have been here for this, and I'd like to thank you all for it.
Tene ta te jeso ta tanda jerdo tanda kaseng kapso ta loma kahi jege jamru damba hyoge yen sumking wasare la tene ta tel tangbo jamru damba nange yen la tene jamru damba hyongin tinzo ya dong pe naro che.
Now, yesterday there were a few people who asked to take the refuge vows and said they would like to take them. So first of all, those of you who are taking the refuge vow, please come to the front. Okay.
Yeah,
so please come. Just stand in the front. Stand. Long de oro. Long de oro.
Long de na yan de sabe. Ta tangbo chosam sal teni bumo ye pasala zo yambal hang labani hingala talmo jar ne teni ta sonde je indengre la ti sonde te ta peki kitene da ti tenda la kariyo are se na teni chiran namba sanje chu genden te Kagyu Rinpoche namba soma japso droge yin sene ke lang hin tham jawa je yo are la te ta ba sen je tai ne teni Kagyu Rinpoche namba som je je sun jo te tam be chu chu go la hu pa yin sam ka long don den be je du na ro che.
So first you should make 3 prostrations, and then you will kneel with your right knee on the ground and your left knee raised and your 2 hands joined at your heart in prayer position. Then we'll recite the words of a prayer. The prayer is in Tibetan, but the meaning of the prayer is that you are going for refuge to the Buddha, going for refuge to the Dharma, going refuge to the Sangha. You're going for refuge to the precious three jewels. And so think to yourself that you are making this promise and this commitment to go for refuge to the three jewels. And as you recite the words, think to yourself that you're going to follow the example of the three jewels and enter the gate of the Dharma. So now please stand and do 3 prostrations. Now please kneel. Put your right knee on the ground, your left knee raised, and join your hands at your heart in prayer. If you're not comfortable, you can sit on your cushion a little bit. Okay?
Chujona, Yupe, Sanjetang, Jangchup Sempa, Tamji, Dala, Gonsuso, Lopen, Dala, Gonsuso, Datu, Dene Zonte, Jesit, Soye, Parto, Kani, Namjincho, Sanjela, Japsun Cho, Dejatan, Talwa, Namjincho, Chula, Japsun Cho, So Namjincho, Pope, Genden, Namla, Japsun Cho, Dorje Parto, Japsum, Zinpe, Geninto, Lopenji, Zondoso, Tige, Sondete, Talin something than Gugi or Latina, and Lin Tambote, Trupari. Tinilin Ibati, Utsupaka Solaya, Tietarto, Kanchurimbochi numbers on Matapson Royin, number Tamchata, Jenny Duna Rochi.
So you'll recite that prayer 3 times, and so we have completed the first repetition. Now, as you begin the second repetition, please again have the motivation that you are going for refuge to the three jewels.
Chojana, Yupe, Sanjetang, Jangchup Sempa, Tamji, Dala, Gonsuso, Lopen, Dala, Gonsuso, Datu, Dene Zonte, Jesit, Soye, Parto, Kani, Namjincho, Sanjela, Japsun Cho, Dejatan, Talwa, Namjincho, Chula, Japsun Cho, So Namjincho, Pope, Genden, Namla, Japsun Cho, Dorje Soye, Parto, Japsum, Zinpe, Geninto, Lopenji, Zondoso. Tati sonde thangi pati truparella. Tati jisu thang sumbati ngaranso ocho ni tene thang sumbati trup kapso segul je dabgre segul dabati tendo de karire se na damba sinkin te thokhi latini jegi orella. 다 대답을 세골답을 값소 되네 산지 적고대 되네 담배 주승랍 레범제 넘바 되네 겐든제 대라 제베 통네 잡선도 담바양 답바 톱종 선바타 되네 대야 당가란서 티바침비 근홍인 베처나 마준로 남긴 타동냥 베센진 탐지 제단다 당가란 담배 주주고라 휴바인 선베 근홍 살답 나로지.
That was the second repetition. And now for the third repetition. At the end of the third repetition, I will snap my fingers. And when I snap my fingers, the meaning of this is that when you take a vow, you receive the vow by knowing that you have taken the vow. And so when I snap to your fingers, think to yourself that in the presence of the Buddha, the representation of the Buddha, the statue, and in the presence of the representation of the Dharma books, and in the presence of the community of the Sangha, you have properly taken the refuge vows. Since we have the motivation of the Mahayana, think to yourself that it is for the benefit of all of our mothers, all sentient beings, who are as limitless as space, that you are entering the gate of the Dharma.
초조나 육배 산제당 장축sem바 탐지 달라 공수소 로번 달라 공수소 다투 데네 송데 제습 초예 바르도 강니 남진초 산제라 잡선초 대자당 달와 남진초 추라 잡선초 소남진초 파베 겐든 남라 잡선초 Dorje Parto Chapsum Zinpe Geninto Lopenji Zondo So Tene Tati Japsundro Dambate Toparella Dambate Topne Tatambi Chugola Hupayin Sombe Gawatan Troatan Chepegone Tatanda Japsundro Dambalani Tambi Chugola Hupati Mejipe Ten La Chitsune Tate Sichi Tene taken the main Sabache Chudon Tempe main Sabache Tagarella Tenchi number by in the Penaroche.
So now you have received the vows, and now that you've received the vows and entered the gate of the Dharma, you should be excited and joyous, rejoice about what you have done. And so now, as a support that you do not forget that you have gone for refuge, I will cut a small amount of hair from the top of your head, and I will give you a new refuge name. So please, this is a Dharma name, a name that fits with the Dharma. So now please come forward to receive.
Namo Buddha Namo Dharma Namo Sangha 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 Namo Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. 다티게 잡선도 담바티 톱니 다티 지수 단다 되네 잡선도 담바 휴네 담비 추주고라 휴발라 parchi me pata teni somden yendo somden chudong tamban rupata teni te somden yom mazin tartu gendebo nyordu topic melam jagre la cheran namba yo senje teni te tabu melam jagna roche.
Now that you have received the refuge vow and entered the gate of the Dharma, I would like to make an aspiration prayer. This is an aspiration that you encounter no obstacles and that you will be able to accomplish all of your wishes. And not only that, that you will quickly come to the ultimate result of your Dharma practice. And so please keep the same aspiration in mind as I recite this.
Tarbe jansen dembara jorje, zombara je bazen dara zombara jorje, zulrem je bumbo yonso zobara jorje. Serab damje da dambe je nyamsa lembe galba dan dembara jorje. Tarbe jansen dembara jorje, zombara je bazen dara zombara jorje. Zulrem je bumbo yonso zobara jorje, serab damje da dambe je Nyamsa lembe galba dan dembara joroje, tarbe janse dembara joroje, sangbara je baze thara zambara joroje, sulshim je bumbo yonso zobara joroje, serab dhamje da dhambe je nyamsa lembe galba dan dembara joroje, trimje sulshim je meje, sulshim nambara dan lamse mebe sulshim je sulshim Paro Jinzo Yo Jalwa Ganje Jiso De Zambo Jeba Yonzo Zoze Jen Sultam Jeba Jeme Yonda Tada Manyam Jeme Jebara Yo Shonju Senerndo Jema Jeba Jijur Jeba Nyamba Meba Kone Gondom Perwa Yo Tati Japson Dambate, not to Payama. Inch number Tombe Chuchu Gola, Yoni Tombe Chuchi Yoni, Tartsimber Sawayin, Sombe, Nintop Gene, Yunaruchi.
So that completes the refuge vow. And so now please have the courage to think to yourself that you are going to practice the Dharma and come to the ultimate results. And then please take your seats.
Tene tate jeso tatanda jitang Dorje Chang Tungma sonde go ne chaja chimbu tri chaja chimbu nyamsa lembe tap dordu zamdo damba tela ta cherdo ngandro tang yi som yebenani ngandro ti hyu chubache ta ti ji sungu yirela nguye la ya tene ngandro tang nguye namba ni yebenani ngandro tomonga ngandro tong tomoma imbe ngandro namba ni de hyu chubache de ji so nguye la ya tene hine tong hwang tong ni yebenani hine de ta kasinga kasu hyu chubache ta tere nguye hwang tong 다 합자래라 되는 대야 다 째도 환통세나 되는 째도 당가란서 조다 녀몬 봐도 희지드 봤은 거요. 다 녀몬 봐서나 저도 몽성 넘버 또 봐라 거기요. 희지드 봐서나 뭐 보통 질은 점바 휴친 보통 템바 되네 다 데이터북 점바제라 예버는 좀바도 매버는 좀발라서 좀바 효침보 드네 데라 희지드 봤은 거요 알라 데이터북 녀몬 봐도 희지드 바님보데 뽕어르지비가 탑데 간디지레세나 yendaga 탑 요마레라 무부 내철동 tumba 당무보 코랑가 내루데 제타와긴도 또나 되는 무부가 내루라 되는 추동 공사가 더 넘바님보데 마드바임발라 madruba yimbala hina tene ta tela tene tanda nyemon baton hiji drabate pangi yore perna ngarang su thapa thawo je la drulre somnen trul ne tene ta tela jito che ta drulge soja gure ya drulde tauchin jire ngarang chigre somben jito che na ta tela drul tela zain thap tene se na pengre se na pengmare wona karire se na tochi yapo che se ne drul main pa yapo che he na tene jito tong dungal tenso kanga targe yore ta drul tan to drul yo mare la pe te yendo la ngaran so la ya tene dungal ju ge zawa danjin do nyemo ba tenso tan la yo mare la te me pa yapo che he na tela tene zawa nyemo ba to hiji drba tenso pangro imbe cherna tene tanda ngupu nelu te togo ge yore la ngupu nelu te to per sepa la yo che ngupu to nang sen namba ni ye pe na ne che ngupu to main pa nang sem je ne dang te yapo che hi na ti ge sem rang hi me pa da sen rang hi me pe ge namba te da sen rang hi me pa yin na ya tene sen je ngo de sar yin ri pa yin ba ta te la sar tong song dun ju pa sung ge yore la te ta bu ge ne dang te to pa ge thap ti che ta wa yin de tem ba te la long thong hyo ge yore.
Now, in these instructions on Mahamudra meditation that we have by way of the Vajradhara lineage prayer, we have the three parts. There are the preliminaries, there's the main section, and then there is the conclusion or follow-through. And so of these, we are currently talking about the actual practice. And in the discussion of the actual practice, there is the discussion of the preliminaries and of the actual practice. With the preliminaries, so the common and the special preliminaries, and we've completed the discussion of these two. With the actual practice, there is a discussion of tranquility meditation and insight meditation. Yesterday, we finished the instructions on tranquility meditation. And so today we have the advice on the actual practice of insight meditation. Now, when we say insight meditation, basically we have the two types of obscurations, the afflictive and cognitive obscurations. The afflictive obscurations are all our thoughts of greed, hatred, and delusion. And the cognitive obscurations are primarily our strong fixation on things as being either something or being nothing, as existing or not existing. So when we fixate strongly on something as either being existent or as being non-existent, being nothing, that is what we call cognitive obscuration. And the way the only way to eliminate these two types of obscurations, what is it? There is no other way. Really what we need to do is we need to understand what the nature of things are. We need to understand in a way that fits with the nature of things and realize the nature of things. And so when we realize the nature of how things actually are, then we will see that all of our thoughts of greed, hatred, and delusion, and everything do not truly exist. And when we know that, then we will be able to eliminate all the afflictive and cognitive obscurations. It's like this. It's like if there's a rope and you mistake that rope for being a snake, and you think, oh no, that snake's going to come and get me, it's poisonous, and then you're all afraid of this snake. Does being afraid of the snake in that way help? It doesn't. It doesn't help to think about the snake in that way. What helps is to look and see what actually is there. And when you see that what is not a snake actually is not a snake, then you'll be free of any of the fear and suffering and difficulty that what you would have. And so in this way, the rope, when you see the rope, there's actually no snake there. Similarly, when we look at the root of all of our suffering, and we realize the root of all of our suffering is clinging to a self, and when we see that our clinging to a self and the afflictions in actuality do not exist, and we know that they do not exist, then we will be, then because of knowing that root, we will be able to see that the afflictive and cognitive obscurations do not truly exist and will be able to eliminate them. And so for that reason, we need to know what the nature of things is and realize what the nature of things is. And in order to realize what the nature of things is, we can look either at external things or we can look at our internal mind. So here we don't just look at external things, but instead we look primarily at the nature of the mind to see what is the way the mind truly is. And when we see when we look at the nature of the mind, we see that there is nothing that is a real nature. There's nothing that we can find there. So we can see that it has that aspect of being empty, but at the same time, its essence is clear and knowing. This is what we call the union of clarity and emptiness. And so the method so that we can realize this as it is are the instructions on insight meditation.
Nando sumbe tanda lontong sonde de lontong chetawa yinto to sonde de la atene namdo ngo chukru sumba yin jiyan mai jiyan charwa la manga roban cha gomchen la kornde yerme to por sinji lo sumba la tene teya namdo sena tangaranso chitang sem number hiba la namto rakpa tene ta te namto rakpa ga onda sena nyemo bata namto rakpa ngunzen ta denzen to danzen la soba namto mampon choge yo la namto mampon choge yo te yinaya ti namto ge nguni thane ge ne pa chal ge yo sena namto ge ji sun na tene ta tela tene chodo monsong tela tene lengen baso tene ta tege sachi je legi mege namba na so baso ne korwan chambe ge jinse ge yore mato namto koran la kande ge yore se na namto koran ge ngo de ranhin ji madu bar namto de ta ngaran so kapka te na kapka la nyemo ba hedang ge namto jegre Kapkala tene tanda deshaka number topa chegre Kapkala tene temu la supa number topa tan desha tong hedang tabu salve number topa tong temu tabu masalve number topa tende mambo chegre la tene Kapkala chamba tong hinje la supa tene gewe ke number topa yo chegre kantar ya namto rang ngo te tene kande chi yo arese no ngo rang hinje tomba Tengo ranking tomba te jipa ke ripi tena papa maimba. Ngune ngaranso ransen ranlo ranla ko to major ba yimbe cherna. Ngarang ke tene number topa te kawado tena. Tene te ranking chitupa nyegi yo mare. Danando sasha sanin danando. Yana luji nangdando na luji nangdando. Yana luji chelando na luji chelando. Tene ta tela tene te tardo tochi sena tochi sepa on tena ngus tena te ngus nyegi yo marela yana yebdan kadula super number lando kom yana yebdan kadula super number mena mebe ke cholte kandi mena ya tengu yebdan kadu kan number yo mare tengu pu ne dan dende ji yo are sene ngien dende ji hedang ngo dende ji ni so se ke ta ngien deja ngo dende ji ni so ngien number to ba rakwe number to pa ngo dende ji ni so sam ne cholna te choria yo mare la te cherna nom to ngo te tene rongin ji tomba yimba rangin ji tomba yimba te ya tene tomba tongchung ne pa me chung rabo je lan rog re se na tin rog yo mare Ndogyo Marella, Salhin Ripaum, Tati Naranga Sarchate Mangaba, Sarchate Mangaba Yorella, Sarchate Mangaba de Tati Chukurangin Bicherna, Nomdogo Chuku Yen Sony, Nomdongo Chukur Sumbati, Naranso Chuku Yimbara Mato Barella, Tela Yoni on the Taki Yoni on the Kamna Nomdogo Chukur, Sumba Yendula, Yams Yunju Yabajire.
Now, in these instructions on Mahamudra, in this particular prayer, the Vajradhara Lineage Prayer, when it gives the instructions on how to realize insight meditation as it is in the verse that reads on the page 2 of it, as is taught, the essence of thoughts is Dharmakaya. They are nothing whatsoever, and yet they arise, or they arise as anything. To the meditator who reflects on the unobstructed play of mind, grant your blessing that the inseparability of samsara and nirvana be realized. So when we say thought, generally, when we think about thought, that just means, the consciousness is in our minds, the coarse thoughts that we have, the thoughts of the afflictions, the thoughts, and the other coarse thoughts we have, the thoughts of clinging to things as being, clinging to things, clinging to the truth, clinging to, and so forth. And so there are various different many different thoughts that occur. And when all of these different thoughts occur, do the thoughts themselves actually harm us? Actually, it's when we follow the thoughts. When we follow the thoughts, then we have greed, hatred, and delusion arise. Through the greed, hatred, and delusion, then we commit bad karma. And because then we commit karma. We perform the defiled karma, whether virtuous or unvirtuous, that then is the condition that causes us to wander in samsara. But if we look at the thought itself, if we look at what the thought is, what is it? Does it actually harm us? Actually, the essence of the thought itself cannot by its nature be established as anything. And so when we look at it, sometimes we have the thoughts of hatred. Sometimes we have thoughts of greed. Sometimes we have thoughts of delusion. Thoughts of greed and hatred have a sort of clear aspect. Thoughts of delusion have an unclear aspect. Sometimes we have thoughts of love, compassion, and other virtuous thoughts. But in any case, if we look at the essence of the thought itself, what is the essence of the thought? The essence of the thought is naturally empty. And this is something not that we need to infer through logic. Instead, it's something that it's not hidden from us ourselves. Our minds are not hidden from ourselves. And so we can just look and see, well, where is the thought? And then when we look for the thought, we cannot find anything that is established by its nature. And so if we look, then if there's a thought, then where is it? It must either be inside the body or outside the body. So is it inside the body? Is it outside the body? We need to examine it. And when we examine, this means that we just need to look directly at it. We look, and when we look for the thought, we cannot find anything there. When we look for a thought, we need to think, well, does it have a color or a shape? Does it not have a color or a shape? If it doesn't have a color or a shape, then what is it like? How is it something without a color or a shape? And so if you look for it and say, okay, here I found the essence of this thought, this angry thought. I've found the essence of this greedy thought. I've found the essence of this coarse thought. And there's nothing that you can find anywhere, no matter how much you look, because the essence of the thoughts is naturally empty. When we realize that the essence of the thought is naturally empty, then is that just mere emptiness, blank emptiness that is nothing else? Is it just mere nothingness, blank nothingness? It is not. Actually, it also has this clear and aware aspect. The clarity of the mind is unceasing. And so that is the nature of the Dharmakaya. So this is what we mean when we say the nature of thoughts, or the essence of thoughts, is the Dharmakaya. We have not realized the Dharmakaya, but if we look again and again at the nature of our mind, and we see it and we realize it, then we can experience the nature of thoughts as the Dharmakaya.
Tene ta tela tsikong tongbu ge namdo ngo chukuru sumba yen namdo ngo de chukula song yo re te sumba tar to tene te namdo ngo chuku yin bi junsen de song re la de tsikong ni pa tela kare song yo re sena jian mai jian charwa la se tene te chu je ko yin bi junsen de ta tanda jitang ge tsek sungsul la jian mai Jian charwa la senke te jian ma yin ba te ngai la song jian charwa te ji le song yo re te ko dewe ga on de sena tangpo number to ba la jian char ge yo re number to ba ta ngaran so ga kale te na ndra mandra number na so ba nom to ga do te ne ji to de do la so ba number na so ba ji char ge yo re jian char ge yo re jian char ge yo re te ti jian charwa te la ngubo ta dembar trupa kare do te na jian mai kanya yo mare la tene ta tanda kondu shiba jindu hedong kaban do te na hedong kana yo mare ngarang la hedong je yo re je song noa charge yo re noa charge yo re te yin na ya hedong ge yesu jo na tene te gen trol ro yo re ma to hedong rang ngo la te na te hedong te sanne kang do yo mare ngo ge namba kanya yo mare te yendo ta jikto da bo je yin na yo jikto ge ngo la te na te tar do cho yin ge ngo la te na yo te tar do yo re la tene jian charwa te la jian ma yin ba ji re di cher na te sem jen sen nang do ge ngo te chu chu ko re jian ma yin jian charwa la di cher na tene ngo tong ba re ngo tong ba re te namba manga ba sung ge yo re la manga ro ba cha ga kam chen la manga ro ba nang do te manga ba tu jen do che ge yo re se na che ge yo re ro ba cha ga kam chen la tini tati ngo te ranking ke tomba ngo te salwe ngo te salcha manga pa yimbe cherna te tabu sanje noa ti ta indo ngo hi pa che ta ngo hi ne ngandu chur pa che chong na tini khornde yermi to par sinje long khorwalang khori gendo khorwe ne de nyangilin de ranking ba te hi gu pa che re ta tindi so re.
So the first line says, the essence of thoughts is the Dharmakaya as it's taught. So it's taught that the essence of thought is the Dharmakaya. The next reason is taught. So this is the second line. Not anything at all yet arising as anything. So they aren't anything at all and they're arising in anything. So here it's taught in these first it's taught that they aren't anything, and then then second it's taught that they arise as anything at all. So this is how it's taught, but it's actually easier to understand if you reverse the order of these. So the thoughts arise as anything at all. And so we have all sorts of different thoughts that occur. Thoughts of joy, thoughts of pleasure, thoughts of hatred. There are all sorts of appearances and thoughts that occur. The thoughts can arise as anything at all. And so these occur. But when they occur, are they something that is truly a thing? Are they definitely true? They aren't. They aren't anything at all. They're nothing whatsoever. And as I just said, if you look at the essence of hatred, then you can't find it anywhere. The hatred arises, you can feel it, it appears, but when if you follow it, then you get confused and mistaken. But if instead you look at the essence, then no matter where you look, where is it? The essence of it is empty. And it is the same with the essence of fear. It is the same with the essence of thoughts of fixation and greed. So the mind can arise as anything at all, and yet it is not anything. And so, in this way, the essence of thoughts, the essence of the mind is the Dharmakaya. This is the second line. And then next is the third line. So the essence is of the mind is emptiness, but it is also unobstructed play. To the meditator who reflects on the unobstructed play of the mind. So it is this unobstructed or unceasing, this play of the mind that never ceases. So this is the aspect of the mind. So the essence is empty, that emptiness is clear, and the clarity of that mind is unceasing. And so that is the essence of the mind. If we can know that essence of the mind and meditate upon it, then it will be as in the fourth line, grant your blessing that the inseparability of samsara and nirvana be realized. So if we realize this, then we will know that even though we wander in samsara, the essence of samsara is actually nirvana.
Tene ta te tabuge ta senjine lu te tene ta te ngus sunga re la ngus sunga tar to susu gi nyam su lang ne ta ngan tu che gu gi wa re la te nyam nyong ge to ne ngotre pa ta tinde nomba na zo pa yore la te ye pa tar to tanda chitang sem je nam to sem je ngo sem je nelu sem je yewa tenzo salbo je chong na pe yapo teni te tanda ngaran so sem je ngo la kira te yo ma re la ma te pa yin be cherna ta te la teni ngan je khepa ta tu to che par jin tenzo salbo song yo re teni salbo song yo pa te ya tanda chitang Jangka mapa kunting dunba chura jansu ke tene seme ke tenchu chi song yo ware la seme tenchu di nang to ta chitang ke seme tenchu se na ta nyi sema se kunzuk ke noa nongsul charsul tene jipa kan rotan rabo ta tende ten nang ke yo ware te yena ya jangka mapa kunting dunba chura jansu ke tene ta nyi seme nam yo te ta lento tene tate chetawa yento ngihi yapo che te jipa tseme ke ten la phap na te ji so tene senje ne lu chetawa yento to pe choja chimbu ke nyam tu che par chi jula che ke yen ra bote salor song ne ta chetang ke tseme tawala mandawa no ba na so pa sung ge yo re te yena ya te tumo mahimpa ranglu tumo mahimpa ta tende song yo re la ta te la kare song yo re se na sen chitang ta sen number hi pa chu ji ta ngaran chu sen ji ne tang ra bote khandi ji re se na sen number hi pa chu ji tu song yo re la tene sem sung du ji nga chu cha ji ge ngo la song yo re.
And so that is teaching what the nature of the mind like. And this mind is like. And we need to realize this for ourselves. We need to manifest this nature of the mind ourselves. We need to each have and recognize the experience of the nature of the mind. And so in general, as Thad said, we need to know, what is the mind? What are thoughts? What is the essence of the mind? What is the nature of the mind? What are the different classifications of mind? We need to know if we know what those are clearly, then that is very helpful. We can look at the nature of the mind more easily. So for that reason, the great scholars and masters of the past have taught that. For example, the seventh Karmapa, Chödok Gyatso, in his treatise on validity, the ocean of logical treatises, generally when you think about a treatise on validity, these primarily teach about conventional validity. This means basically how is it that conventional appearances arise or relative appearances arise? How do we know that something is true? How do we know that it's valid or how it's invalid? And so forth. So they primarily focus on the conventional validity. But in the seventh Karmapa, Chögyatso's treatise on validity, he does, of course, present that conventional approach to validity, but he also uses that as the basis. We need to know how things are and develop certainty how things are and use our inference so that then we can have the basis, so that we can look at the way the nature of the mind is and practice Mahamudra. And so for that reason, he taught about how the nature of the mind, the basis of the mind is like. Now, so in this way, there are many different treatises on validity, but Chögyatso's is our own particular tradition. And so in this, he teaches the way of the mind in a way so that we can more easily realize Mahamudra. So he taught about there being 8 consciousnesses. Now, when we look at the way the mind is, we talk about there being these 8 different consciousnesses, and then there also are 51 mental factors.
Tene ta tela number hipa su jig na ne tangpo ta zun thong sepa meg number hipa da tu per sepa na number hipa tsorwar sepa na number hipa ronyor sepa che number hipa rizanyor sepa luji number hipa te ta tela go ngai number hipa sungyo ta ting haran su go nga ni number hipa nga tu ne zun thong da tu tsor la so ba yung yo la ti number hipa tenzo la tene namto rakpa yo re besena namto rakpa yo mare ta no zo hi zam je ngo ta ba ji re la ti cherna seme kapsol kare sung yo re sena tomi ji hipa sung yo tel namto hipa yo mare namto rakpa khaya yo mare la tomi ji hipa sung yo re la toba yo mare te yinaya te la tene noa te harge yo re besena noa te harge yo re tene harge yo re la ti gom je kapsol la ya te ne pata nepa i charge yo mare la phemba yo chege yo mare kariri se na tanda narupa ga sauna pun hui men chin hembe chen hemba che ji narupa sumare la tene meki zu thona kan negre bisina neg mare nawi datu na kan negre bisina neg mare tene hui men chin korwalan ching mare ta ona kan ge ching resina hembe chin tini tela ya tanda umeten chuga naniga song yore ndana nonsong government dembar topa doza inse nonsong hyar sam tela chepar kanyo yomare no megi zon thon nawe dratu nai tratsor tini ngaran su tingen zen gompa kapsa la ya tige megi number kibi ke gom ja choja chempo gom grebe sine choja chempo gom kumare nawe number kibi ke choja chempo gom kumare nai number kibi choja chempo gom kumare che number hiba ton luji number hibi ke choja chempo gom kumare ta te korang la noi menchen si tige nepa yung charge yo mare la tini sen tomi ke hiba tomi ke number la nege yo re
Umage longde
pun ndana nonzong government dembar topa dozai noa zong gog mare tomba ni sinkin de noa gog yo re sina noa gog yo mare
tena nonzong government
dembar topa dozai.
Now, with the 8 consciousnesses, there are first the 5 sensory consciousnesses. There is the eye consciousness that sees form, the ear consciousness that hears sounds, the nose consciousness that smells scents, the tongue consciousness that tastes flavors, and the body consciousness that senses touch. So these are the 5 sense consciousnesses. Because we have these 5 senses, then there are the 5 consciousnesses there. And so because of these, we're able to see forms, hear sounds, smell scents, and so forth. Now, in these sensory consciousnesses, are there any coarse thoughts that happen in them? There are not. They're just a mere appearance. They're just merely knowing, mere appearance and mere knowing. And so for that reason, in the validity texts, what it says is that these are non-conceptual These are non-conceptual consciousness. And so because there are no coarse thoughts, that we say that there are no, that it's non-conceptual, or that there are no thoughts. But even though there are non-thoughts, do appearances occur? There are appearances in the mind. But when we do our meditation, these consciousnesses do not harm us. They don't help us either. So what is the reason for this? Well, it is as the great yogin Naropa said, appearances don't bind us, it's fixation that binds us. And so when we see a form or something like that, it's, it appears, but that appearance doesn't bind us in any way. It's the fixation on it that is that binds us. So Naropa said, appearances don't bind us. So just merely seeing something does not bind us. It's the fixation on it that binds us. Similarly, it says in the treatises on the middle way, it says, the mere appearance is not what we're refuting, it's what we're refuting is the clinging to things as true. So just merely appearing, things merely appear, and there's no need to refute that. We see things with our eye, we hear things with our ear, and so forth. But when we do meditation, do we do Mahamudra meditation with our eye consciousness? Do we do Mahamudra meditation with our ear consciousness? Do we do Mahamudra meditation with our nose consciousness? Or do we do Mahamudra meditation with our tongue or our body consciousnesses? We don't. These are just appearances that occur. As Naropa said, the appearances don't bind. And so the appearances are not a problem. We just, there's knowing, but the appearances do not bind us.
Tene ta tela hemba cheji naroba suwa imbechena ta tsawa hemba rela hemba te kani yungi yuware se na ta tanda ngaranso chuge noni sa na hiji number hiba sungi yuware la hiji number hiba singi te ta nawe mege number hibi jisu jibi namto je tene nawe number hibi jisu jiba gongai number hibi jisu jibi namto je la hiji number hiba se te toje Dorje la, Dorje imba la tene, tate yapondo, dubondo, te gugendo, te gugemendo, sambege, namto mambo jege yore la. Namto te la tene, tene lesa pa la tene, dedu ke chorwa mambo, yungi yore la, tene junsin teacher na, tanda, trupa hiji number hipe, number topa te, hemba cheje, sundi hemba te, tegi hemba te, mepashi ne gongu ge yore la tangaran su namtu mandawa troate te la ta cheme ka so la yi to che sung ge yore ti ge namtu mambo tinin de mau ta tu sung namtu mambo du ge yore la tini te namtu te hine je ka so la ya ti namtu te hira mantro wa che ti ngond sem kewe ngond ne to ba che Tenin Hong Capsula, Tingo de Cabado, Tingo de Ranking Tomba in Bateta, Tingo de Ranking Tomba Tonchun Chiam, Mepachi Ribisina Chiam Mepachi Mare, Sargin Ribi Hipachire, Sargin Ribi Hipachire, the Yena and Tela, Dembar Trubaton, Tenin Sargin Trickpanda, Kan you are Visina, Kaya you are Marella, Tingo de Chetawagendo, Tohin, Tingo de Chetawagendo, Zigu you are.
And so the second line of the song says, so cut your fixation, Naropa. So what is the root of our problem? It is the fixation. And where is that fixation? That fixation is in the sixth, the mental consciousness. That mental consciousness follows after the sensory consciousnesses. The eye sees something, and then there is a thought that follows after the eye consciousness. There's a thought that follows after the ear consciousness, a thought that follows after each of the five sensory consciousness. And so these are conceptual. These are the thoughts. These are the thoughts, oh, that's good. And then the thought, that's terrible. I want that, or the thought that I don't like that. So there are all these different thoughts that occur. So we see something, that thought occurs, we think about it, and then we experience feelings of pleasure or displeasure, and then we have those thoughts, then we perform actions, and because of the actions that we perform, we experience the resulting pleasure or unpleasant feelings. And so for that reason, it says, cut the thoughts, cut the fixation, Naropa. So we need to eliminate the fixation entirely. So we have many thoughts that occur. And when we talk about these in the treatises on validity, these are called conceptual consciousnesses, the conceptual thoughts. So there are many different thoughts we can have: thoughts of the past, thoughts of the present, thoughts of the future, thoughts of the three times. And so with all these thoughts that occur, when we are performing the tranquility or shamatha meditation, at that point we should try not to generate too many thoughts, and rather we should just try to rest naturally within tranquility. When we perform insight meditation, then we look at their essence. Where is the essence of that thought? When we see the essence, we see that it is emptiness. But that emptiness, is it nothing at all? Is it complete blankness? It is not. It is still the clear and aware knowing. But when we see that, is there anything there that can be truly established, that truly exists, that is hard and solid? There's nothing there that we can find that is like that. And so we need to see that, and we need to realize that as it is.
Tene ta hiji number hipati number to ngote country ji higu gresena hiji number hipate ta jansu ge balap da boje kora ranging ge yung yore rete yinna jansu ge balap te kanin jung yore jena jansu le ta te be balap yo marela te he na jansu balap te ranging ge ta go choi bala hiji yo panda boje re la pe te yendo hiji number hipate kani che ge yore sen tanda chetang hiji number hipata gong number hipate ta meeting pen number hipare tanda lobur tu che lobur tu ga do yore la ta tenzo tene yang ta pa che njung hipi ge cherto kandi re sena te kingi number hipi ge ngone njung ge yore kingi number hipato nyemo be ni ta chetang tembe number hipa go ngai number hipa to tuba hiji number hipa teno metimbe number hipa tanda che tanda go yal ta tinde yung yore la tene nyemo be ye da tene tanda kingi number hipa ni bote tembe number hipa re la tene nyemo be ye te tanda dancing number imbe chena ngaran so ta gam jap ka so nyemo be ye ngo la gam gre be sena gam mare te pangja ta bu re la tawana kangre na kingi number keep ngola gangre kingi number keep ngone trupa hiji number keepate ge balap da botin jung kapsula tin ko ngote me ranking ki hiwala to na tin kingi number keep ngondo ranking ki yalndo ju ya bachai tin kingi number keep ngote tembe number keep imbe junsin de kandire sena salkin rip hipate jain chea yo arbe sena jain chea yo mare Tupa hiji number hipe nang to bala di hea, ta chea, ta goya, mampu yore la. Tingone sal sam, sam sal rig number te, tene kenji number hipe ke sarchare la. Te la goya, ta, tene ya peli ya andrabo hira, yo mare kuran sal sam. Tene ngaran so, ti salwa sinkin te, nang hingi salwa mare te, yina yang sal sedu, ta che. 하고 히 대바제 남발라 살긴 리바 숭게와르라 드니 살긴 리바 디 ngote 가이나 ngo랑긴지 똥바레 드니 나란서 살긴 리바 ngote 똥바 임발라 마히는 트룬도요와르라 디 ngo랑긴지 똥바 임발라 히나 드니 끈지 롱도 tene tanda kenji ge longdo ya tupa hiji number hipe namdo tenzo ranging ge yal roji imbe cherna ta teta ge ta chetang ge semi yongni teta de song yore.
So how is it that we can know the essence of the thoughts in the sixth mental consciousness? Well, the sixth mental consciousness, it's like waves. Waves just naturally happen. But if you look at it, where are they? Well, when you look at waves, they're not separate from the ocean in any way. The nature of the waves is just that they're part of the water. And so when we look, where is it that the sixth mental consciousness comes from? It's like the waves. They arise and they perish, they start and they stop, and we need to know what they are like properly. But actually, they are just occurring within the ground consciousness, and so they arise from the ground consciousness. The ground consciousness and the afflicted mind are stable. The five sensory consciousness and the sixth mental consciousness are unstable consciousnesses. They suddenly arise, they suddenly stop, they start and stop all the time. But the afflicted mind and the ground consciousness are stable. So the afflicted mind is just this aspect of clinging to self. And so when we do meditation, do we look at the essence of the afflicted mind? We don't. The afflicted mind is actually something that we need to eliminate. So how is it? What actually do we do with the meditation? Well, we do the meditation looking at the essence of the ground consciousness. Within the ground consciousness, it is within the ground consciousness that there are all the ways of the sixth mental consciousness occurring. And so when you realize that they're naturally pacified, then they sink back down and disappear back into the ground consciousness. And so that is the essence of the ground consciousness. And the essence of the ground consciousness is that it is just clear and aware. Does that clear awareness ever stop? Is it ever interrupted? It doesn't ever stop. Like the sixth mental consciousness, it starts, it stops, it has interruptions and stops all the time. But the just mere clarity, the mere clarity of the mind, that is the mere clear aspect of the ground consciousness. And that doesn't have any stopping, it doesn't have any increase or anything. It's just mere clarity. So when we say clarity or luminosity, you might think it means light, but we don't mean anything to do with light. When we say clarity or luminosity, what we really mean is just the understanding, the knowing, the awareness of the mind. That aspect, the knowing aspect, that's what we call the clear awareness. And what is the essence of that clear awareness like? Its essence is empty. Its essence is naturally empty. Since we do not know that the nature of that clear, or if we do not know that the essence of that clear awareness is empty, then we are confused and we wander in samsara. But if we know that, then it just disappears back into the ground consciousness. The sixth mental consciousness then disappears and dissipates into the ground consciousness. And so this is what is described in this treatise on validity.
Tene ta tela tanda jedamba chudo jansu ke semari yung jansu ke no ne so ate jedang ta chaja chimbu ngola ko nyong to som sung ge wa la tela tin ko aje ge wa o ta tin de jing ge duga som ko aje ti ge nyam nyong tong to pa je ge re se na to pa nyam nyong to pa je ge ma re te ina ko aje ge re ko ati ten do nyam so lang na tini nyong yung ge nyam nyong tini o ta tin de sem ge ten duga som be nyam nyong tela yoni yung do kam na tini to pa yung ge topa se du teni te ta ti ngan tu chorne ti chetawa yendo rindoga ti yimbar to ne tu jendo nyam su nyong topa gam topa ta tinde yongi yorela ta ti ko nyong to som te ramba yendo la unya imbe cherna ta tandang arang ko korni hybarela te nyam nyong te gam na te nyam su lang na tini nyong yongre nyong te yoni yong do nyam su nyong na tini topa yongre la tini te ta bo ta long tong ko ngo tembare.
So this is what is taught in the seventh Karmapa's ocean of logical literature. And so when we read this, we can develop an understanding. And so when we have an understanding, then you have three things. We have understanding, experience, and realization. So you have, when you read this, then you can develop the understanding and say, that's what it's like, and then you can meditate it and you can develop an experience. So when you say experience and realizing, what is that? So we have first that understanding, then on the basis of that understanding we practice, and through practicing then we develop an experience. And so it's like this feeling in our mind, that's what it's like, that's how it is, this is an experience of it. And so when we have that experience, and then we experience that experience over and over again, then we develop realization. So realization, when we say realization, that's knowing, this is how it is, that's what it's like, and knowing for sure, having the experience, having the strong experience of that, and knowing that is what we mean by realization. And so in this way we have these, and so when we meditate over and over on an experience, then we develop the realization. And so here what I've explained is just the understanding. And then you take this understanding and you practice it. And by practicing, you'll develop experience. And with that experience, by feeling the experience over and over again, then you will develop realization. And so that is how the essence of insight is taught.
Tene tate lontongke six jebati tendate hubarela tate jeso njuk melomga nambate njuk melomga nambate la jelom jebatan review ga nambala tene melomte nang yorela tene te jeba ga on de sena jewa kondo yongda lama tondami chu jebala longje jen se Tempatan. Rebu on the Sena Satan Lomji and Razo, the Dorje Chang Tungma to so rela, Teniteyan, Tanda, Tene Tangbo, Jelongo on the Sena. Tangarazo Tombo Nundro Gum, Tening Hine Gum, Tenil Honton Gum. Tatinde nawala tene kone konta peru ke tabla country gugre se na ta mise khangla ta tene chewani serap tamchi to ta tambe chula kom gugi yorela teacher na chewa kondo se ta ngarang ke senda da chewa chima tamchi to tambe chu to mandal waji gugi yore chewa kondo tambe chu to mandal vecher to country gugre se na yon top lama ta Zeta rang lama ta madrawa. Lama te lama cheparchi tambi chudan tembe lama yang ta ba che yongda lama ta se. Tene te yang darwa me ba sunge yore la. Sikon ni be on de sena yong ta ba lama ta darwa me ba sunge yore. Darwa me ba sundu te la kanti jire sena tene chitanga on de sena jitun melare be ge marwa lo ta tembe ka so la kusi te la marwa lo ta la te Tene dangwa tenzo sen, dangwa tenzo nyamso lane, tene kusi me la, tene marwa loza to nyamto yugyo mare la, tene ta te lan dharwa meba menduwa kandiri se na, tege luji go ne dharwa meba ta, tene hiji go ne dharwa meba, ta tege jetun mela repi ke tombo lama tembe kapsa la ya, tene se tepa to mugi ichi go ne ten yore la, Tene lama to nyanda mayu na yon lami ke sumbe dangwa te tene ko nyangi ne mandi ke parto la maji ba temba yimbe cherna hiji go ne ndrawa me ba re la te tar to tene ndralmi ndrawa me ba che tene lama tan ndrawa me ba te kandi che gugre se na chitang khala nyam to sa tene nyam to ke cha hi na lama tan ndrawa me ba re se na te mare 다 텔 카리스마 레신 ndalmi ndalme bu karisi gu resin chu chi palla long che jen tambe chu hyo tambe chu ni tambe chu dro te tende sin ndalmi chu chi palla long che jen ta tela te ta ba ji se na tene tanda lama ta ndalwa me ba te chu chi palla long che ba ji sona tene thatu kunde ba thob ji be cherna ta te Naranzo tambi chu nyamsa ling tupa cheta, tambi chu don darwa tambi chu don madarwa tati, tambi chu tartsambar gupi ki junsinti tati ndiji gupi ware.
So that is the explanation of the meaning of the verse on insight meditation. And following that comes the conclusion, the aspiration. And so the aspiration has two parts. It has a part about how we should conduct ourselves and a part about the result. And so for the first two lines, through all my births may I not be separated from the perfect Lama and so enjoy the glory of Dharma. This is the part on the conduct. And the second part, may I completely accomplish the qualities of the paths and stages and quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. This is about the result. So first we have the part about the conduct. And in the conduct, and so for the conduct, we first have, we have the preliminaries, then we have the actual practice and the insight meditation, and then we need to develop this insight meditation. And what do we need to develop? In order to develop it, we need to, in all of our births, in all of our lifetimes, so from lifetime after lifetime, we need to be able to practice the Dharma and meditate. And so, for that reason, through all my births, we need to be able to be not separated from the Dharma. But what do we need so that we can never be separated from the Dharma? We need to be never separated from the Lama. And what sort of a Lama? We need the perfect Lama, the Lama who can teach us the Dharma, who knows and who can teach us the Dharma. That is the type of Lama, the wonderful Lama. And so we need to never be apart from the Lama. So when we think about never being separated or never being apart from the Lama, well, what does that mean, never separated from the Lama? Well, if you think about the life of Milarepa, Milarepa spent in the first, he generally followed the Lama Marpa. And when he followed Marpa, he spent the first half of his life receiving instructions from him, listening to them, and practicing them. And then during the second part of his life, he wasn't with Marpa, he wasn't studying with Marpa, he went to someplace else. So you might say, aha, he wasn't not apart from that. But actually, that's not how it was. There's, being apart with your body and being apart with your mind. And so he was never apart with his mind. And so how is it that he was never apart? It's when you follow a Lama, then it doesn't mean that you're always with the Lama. It means that you remember the instructions. If he had the instructions, he always remembered the instructions and practiced those instructions. And so in this way, he was never separated from his Lama. He never forgot the instructions until such time as he passed into nirvana. And so in this way, in terms of his mind, he was never separated from his Lama. And so that is what we mean by never being separated from the Lama. So when we say never being separated from the Lama, how should we be? It doesn't mean that we need to always have meals with the Lama and always chat with the Lama and so forth. Never being separated, the reason why we should never be separated is so that we can enjoy the glory of the Dharma. And so enjoying the glory of the Dharma means that we get the Dharma teachings, we listen to them, we practice them. That's the glory of the Dharma. And if we do that, then we will never be separate from the Lama. We'll enjoy this, and through enjoying this and never being separated from it, we'll come to the ultimate results. And so in this way, we should never be separated from our practice. And if we do this, and so we need to be like this in order that we can achieve the ultimate results.
Tene ta te tabu chu nyom su lang na jelom te tabu je go ni chu nyom su long na tene ta te la dev kari thog yore se na sa ta lam ji yen te ra zo ne tene ta thar du go on se na sa kyo long nga la so pa rem ji de ta ngaran su ko de go on se na tene nyom to pa ten zo je za ge za wa ten zo chen ru la so ne tenen tartu Dorje Chang Tungma topar hyo sunga rela. Tegendo topar hyo sunga tsam mayinpa, ta ngaranzo tetaba lot long na, tetaba tartu gandeba toge yore.
And so this is the way we should conduct ourselves when we practice the Dharma. And then when we practice the Dharma in this way, what is the result of it? The result is that may I accomplish the qualities of the paths and stages. And so you go through the 10 stages and the 5 paths and we gradually progress through them. To make it easy to understand what it means is that you'll have experience and realization that it'll get stronger and stronger. The roots of your virtue will get more and more stable, and eventually you will reach the state of Vajradhara, quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. So here it says, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara, but it's not just a may sort of thing. It's like, if you practice, you definitely will achieve the results, of the ultimate results.
Tene ta terenge chuting tezom shugiyen la tene junsen kariri se na tese tanda chuting tamala loma sola trila yore trila chenpo yore junsen kariri se na chitang ta nojupe chu nyamlin nangkin so pe zendru chenpo ta tene tambi chu drupu tukap zohi pa pen kepare mato tene tusi hiro yo mare la 제시나 산이 효기 레군을 패고 요래 마자다와라 레군을 패고 요래 마도 대지루 때는 되게 요 말이라 대세도 때라 도공다 랑랑수수기 산이라 패터바 거기 요래라 티처나 투디쳔보 요래 대 투디쳔보에 받은 가랑게 해게 요라 드니 쥐트링기 쥐팅 대점도 효기 연라 드니 단다 드링게 tene kamu ta tanda king rinpoche kanta ka kamu nawa yendo ta tanda che nambala hyujula tene tanda jamu kama pa tanda talo tene densan dala pe tuju ka rewa chenpo yeba te pe kalpa zambo hira chungwa rela tene tela kongi suwa yendo tene jamu kama pa pe ju ka kodi la japchor nangjote pe kalchewa indu kenrumbochi suwa yendo tene chenambeke thula majiba yapo tene naro chida te nawala tene ta te tanda shale na ta tende na tela tene tene sosu senamji tsuju yapa tene sanji chitemba yendo nepa tombe chu tarikin jeba ta tende yungi yore la tene tenam chenambe thula majiba tanda tene KTD de chusu chepar chin sondu tela japchor na pe pento chembo kangdang kang ne la yin na chenambe ge japchor nangju de kal chembo re yugi yen la tene ta tanda kondu hiba yendo ngarange 다리 쳇남발라 추근 데반다고 휴지 중화데 나랑강원에 깔바상부 정와 되네 다 되게 깔바상부 중화라 쳇남발라요 펜토 중에 만남제주다 되네 대장도에 마세 되네 다 담비 추라 되네 냠리 타르sam바제도 냠리라 펜토 야포 준주게 만남제주다 대장도에 마세 다 단다 담비 추 공내 공도 별 tene che namba chudin che sawa samdan ye gendon rupa tene jitin che kontang che la ne dong moge dong san che kalwa ngam batang che ye di na ne ta ting sang ka kap la jung hi gi na pa mang bo yung gi yo re la tenzo men jung wa tene ne mun thu che mang bo yung gi yo re la tene ne mun thu che tenzo jitin che khang la sa na pe sen jin tenzo dung hal top pa ta me pa nyong wan jor wa yin be chen na te ta ba men jung Nalam Japna Rochi Huji.
So that's enough for the session this afternoon. And the reason for that is that today is our last session, and often in the last session, students are in a little bit of a hurry. And the reason that students are in a hurry is that people in the West are very good, they're very diligent about their Dharma practice and making time to practice the Dharma, and they're very skilled at making this time, but that comes a time when you have to go to the office on Monday morning and you're thinking about how you have to get back and do that. So if you are late to the office on Monday morning, that is not okay. So you all need to go back to wherever you came from. So a lot of people have a lot of worries about this, and I know about these worries. And so I'm going to leave that as enough for now. But as Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche said before, as he said to all of you, we have the great hope that this year the Gyalwang Karmapa will be able to come here, and this is really fortunate to have this opportunity. As Khenpo Rinpoche said, this is a great opportunity for us to support this, and it is very important for us to support this. And so, please don't forget what Khenpo Rinpoche has said, and please do what you can to give support to this, whether working or giving in other ways. If you do this, this is something that will be very beneficial for yourself. It'll be very helpful for the Dharma. It'll help the Dharma remain for a long time and help the Dharma spread and flourish. So please do not forget this. If you can support this Dharma Center KTD, that is very good. Or if you support whatever you do, it is very important for you to support. And so, as I said before, I'm really delighted to have this opportunity to make a connection with you through the Dharma. I feel it's very fortunate for me. And so I'd like to make the aspiration that all of you, that what I have taught you be of benefit to all of you, and that all of you may be able to bring your Dharma practice to the ultimate result, and that it be of benefit to you. I also make the aspiration that the Dharma spread and that the Dharma flourish, and that there be no more famine, illness, or war in this world, that all the famine, illness, and war be quelled. And so I'd like to make this, ask you to also make this aspiration. There are many places in the world where there's many great sufferings, many natural disasters. And when there are natural disasters that come, it brings great pain and suffering for many beings. So please make the aspiration that there be no more natural disasters. Please also make the aspiration that all of the suffering of illness and of famine and of war be pacified. And so I ask that you please make these prayers.
Hello.
Rinpoche, thank you on behalf of KTD.
So please, those people who offer body, speech, mind, get ready.
Thank you on behalf of KTD.
And so we chant the body, speech, mind offering. O Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonalan Jonjo Bade Dane Jasanje Daigen Jenzanje Bezenanje Dola Benze Sanje Dobrajo Sanje Jodan Zoje Junala Janjo Bane Dane Jaze Jebezena Jendrola Bende Sanje Dobrajo Sanje Juda Foje Juna Janje Mode Dane Jaze Dage Jesu Jebezena Dola Benje Zani Dobrajo Simje Danje Dewa Dane Judan Dembra Jeje Duan Duan Judan Dra Jeje Duan Dewa Damba Dame
Nyam Jimbola Evrajo Jenye Zada Jojen Jedena Duzai Meye Zenge Gandage Malandeda Damje La Ledang Ayenda Jaje wa Zamba Jebe Melan Dadange Jawa Danje Yejeng Zande Jengede Rande Bayen Jawaga Janjan Dorje Dena Denye Zanje Na Zanje Se Una Java Na Dedra Juje Yen Malum Ba Danje Java Dage Gao Meze Janzo No Yanje Yela Janzo Yandaga Yanje Java Ganje Yende Raje Jende Wajo And again the Meda Damba Dewa Damba Sinye Nanda Juba Dojo Na Mame Juda Dove Damba Jawa Deda Lane Juba Jaza Damba Nanda Dejo Teme Bema Rera Nyamba Java Babi Jogan Java Deda Laya Java Java Kanala Java Deda Java Laya Zamba Jilan Deva Dadang Java Gala Janja Java Deja Jedan Deme Wangene Ludang Adam John Deva Nagen Jeva Jenjem Dedan Zamje Dage Sozraja Joje Java Kunda Sanje Ranjana Lado Melai Dandro Ganje Zena Gala Dela Ganje Jiza Daye Rangana Dhamma Janjaramba Sanjema Deva Dage Damjela Gola Lana Meva Gova Nyange Dada Ganje Deva Landavaga Pijan Deva Jangava Jangadani Yavaya Dage Dhamma Rajara Soaje Janjavan Jeje Java Zeyaran Gajan Zoya Gewajan Dage Jezamba Danje Jengo Beza Sado Samaya Manembala Beza Sado Den de jan de do me ba su do ga yo me ba su bo ga yo me ba ane ra do me ba za wa ze de me da ye sawa karama za me ze tam jere ya guru ha ha o banga ve srawa da da ga beza ma me ma beza bawa ma samaya zando beza be me awo je nambrada onje se jeza beza reke awo je jare koyu ke rave yanse kore uzere jabore onchora jara lumbabo Lon zambele na balanje chan damenye ludon lumba ngaya don ngaya yin yoden don lamchondo damenye don damenye bazam je shen denjo ba mamen ba lono Kolo Rinpoche, Nove Rinpoche, Timo Rinpoche, Lambo Rinpoche, Lambo Je Mobe Rinpoche, Direchimboe, Pomba, Gemoma, Tiwama, Luma, Karama, Medoma, Dubuma, Nanzama, Tijama, Nye, Rinpoche, Do, Chole, Nambra, Jave, Janze, Uza, Lan, Mea, Panju, Panzanzo, Mansanwa, Meba, Denye, Chada, Kolongemba, Nondren Dorje Loba Kenchin Kama Lodru Renlu Nawe Singe Choge Shabi Kaj Sokolo Jijwa Jidum Bewa Jewo Dorje Nawe Dende Jiza Jine Jenje La Zoen Dendro Zoje Trame Narabe Gadaya Mezembe Sazandove Rewa Gonzezo Tele Andaye Ambade Lamaela Nadu Dorje Chang Tungma Kanda Bendan Deve Jebanjo Tajin Janda Lenje Endo Jirenje Kumenjira Dorje Den Yosu so Samenga Tsayan Davir Sunde Jimbro Yosu so Dejen Dorje Ngoro Yosu so Menjire Lembo Kuye Trashisho Yelon Druje Zongen Trashisho Tadadun Dorje Trashisho Jave Kuzon Dorje Trashisho Kagyu Lama Namje Trashisho Yedan Hatso Namje Trashisho Pawo Kandro Namje Trashisho Kyujo Soma Namje Trashisho. So now we do the long life prayers. We're going to chant, since we are pretty late, so we're going to chant, there's no page number, but it says long life prayer for His Holiness the Jawan Kamapa and the Kagyu Lineage holders. The next one is, Dorje Chang Tungma, which is long life. Hoende jen zoi jen go lo da ro ba tu zoi ja wen de jen gra ma ba ya se ju bra je be zen zoi de ka ba ga be ba de Shantezo Kange Zange Zawala Tuzon Rubinyem Broje Baye Pandaloi Bede Nandanjene Ya Jenje Wanda Jejraje Amdele Zujraje Menje Dabe Dandandanjenye Tome Dombo Jawalanjozo Zedaye Jemba Me Jandende Cheme Dutzelanje Gelezo Jalate Jedon Grama Ganzonge Tembe Zojin Zomerembonje Lord Mavezengenye Shabe Denjen Denjen
Namo Buddha
Bebe